There's nothing quite like chocolate with this full Nelson Port-style Norton. It is absolutely delicious with a flourless chocolate cake that I'm going to make for you right now. So we've started off with 12 ounces of chocolate chips, and you can use a bittersweet chocolate chip. That works best. So bittersweet is usually 60 to 65%. And then I want to just put that in my bowl. Now to that I added a 1/4 cup of butter, so it all melted together. Now with my mixer on, I want to add a cup of sugar. Now this is a great recipe that you can create with regular sugar, monk fruit sugar if you like, so it's adaptable, no flour in it, so it's pretty much no fail. 1 egg at a time, 5 eggs at room temperature. Now remember, anytime you're using eggs, you want to do these 1 at a time. And I'm trying to incorporate each egg separately. So 1 at a time, give it a little time so that it mixes through thoroughly. Now the next thing I want to add is about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You don't need a lot of salt in this, but you do need the salt to just bring out that real great cocoa flavor, and about a teaspoon of vanilla. Now I want to turn my mixer up to a medium high and let it mix for about 3 minutes until this is really silky smooth. So I have a pan that I've buttered. This is a 9-inch cake pan, and I have a round disc of parchment paper. What I want to do is just put my pan right down in the center, and I made the parchment disc, 2.5 inches bigger than the pan itself. There we go, and I can kind of see my lines. If you can't see your lines, go back and just give it another little swipe. And just cut this in wedges, just to the line. Don't go past the line, but just sort of like a little flower. All the way around. And I usually make these about 1.5 inches apart at the circle. So just cut down to the circle. Don't go any farther. Now let's just go around and fold those in, one overlapping the next. Now, do you have to go to all this trouble? No, actually you can use a disc in the bottom, and you can use a thin strip around the edge, but this really works best, and it keeps your cake from sticking on the edges. So then just lay that right down in your cake pan and then lift that side up. Because you've already buttered it, the strips will stick right to that butter. There we go. So all the way up the sides of the pan. And if it's not sticking, you can stick a little butter in between. There we go. It won't hurt your cake at all. Now let's take a little bit of our softened butter, about a tablespoon, and just rub that all the way around. Make sure that you press out any little lumps and bumps from your paper so that you have a nice smooth cake bottom and sides. Be sure you get all of it because we're going to put a little bit of cocoa powder on it, and if we don't get it all, we have to go back and fix those little spots. Now the last thing I want to do is to take a couple tablespoons of our nice cocoa powder and put that in the bottom of the pan. Let's tip it all the way around so that we get all of the bottom. And then over a sink or a trash can, you just want to go around the edges. There we go. Now we have all of that excess out. Now we still have our beautiful cake going, and I'm going to add a little bit of cocoa powder to that. All right, we've got that nicely mixed in. And now we're ready to put our cake in the pan. Now this is a really thick, rich batter. It almost looks like brownies. The key to this cake, once it's all done and you have the glaze on it, make sure you cool it, but don't chill it all the way before you cut it. Because this is a flourless cake with that wonderful ganache topping, it tends to crack as you cut it if it's too cold. So always make sure you cut it at room temperature. And I just suggest cutting it before you ever chill it. Now this cake is ready to go into the oven, preheated at 300 degrees for about 40 minutes. It's going to be really soft when it comes out. Don't be alarmed. Don't overbake. Once it comes out, I'm going to take another 6 ounces of chocolate chips, another 3 tablespoons of butter, and 4 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. And I'll melt that in the microwave for about 30 seconds, stir it, and then continue to melt 15 seconds at a time, and I'll top it. And I'll show you what it looks like at the end. It's an incredible cake you won't want to miss out on. So you can see this beautiful ganache on top of the cake. Just let the cake cool, put that warm ganache on top, and then let it all cool down before you slice it. And I love to serve mine with a little bit of whipped cream and some raspberries. But most of all, I love to serve it with the full Nelson right here from Casamel. This is an incredible wine. It is just one of the best dessert wines I've ever had. It's rich, it's creamy, it's velvety. It goes perfectly with this dessert, and I hope you'll enjoy it.